What's up, guys? Austin here at the Sound Room in Asheville, North Carolina. Here to talk to you again about some more walk-ups and walk-downs. Let's get started. So I've had some questions in my previous videos about how do you know what notes to play from one chord to the next chord, so I just want to dig into that a little bit. If you go back and watch my very first video I made on walk-ups and walk-downs, it describes in detail the major scale and how we're going to use the notes in the major scale that we're dealing with to get from one chord to the next. Now, I know that sounds like a really boring teacher thing to say, hey, know your major scales, right? We just want to be told what to play. But it really does create a lot of freedom when you just want to get better at jamming or just noodling. So let's look at some examples. Here we're looking at G major. Here's the G major scale. It's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Now let's assume I'm going from a G to a C chord. If we think in terms of our major scale, that makes it pretty clear on like what notes we can use to walk in an ascending way. We would just go G, A, B, C. And then it's just a matter of timing out those notes appropriately depending on what your strum pattern is. In the examples I've given in the past, we're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. And now let's imagine we're going from C to D. I think this was one of the questions I had. If we look at the C major scale, we've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. C to D is a little different though, right? There's not a clear 2 or 3 notes in between C and D. It's just one note away. But where the major scale tells you the notes that are correct or in the major scale, it also shows you the notes that are not in the major scale and may make things sound a little bit spicy. So I had somebody comment and say, just go to C sharp, right? You're playing the C root right here. C sharp is going to be 1/2 step in front of that. And it sounds a little spicy in the context of C. And then you're going to hit the open D string and it's going to give you a chromatic ascending walk up like this. And that's perfect. That's great. To give you another option to start thinking about is you could do a descending walk to the next chord. So instead of thinking what's in between C and D, start thinking, well, here's C, here's D, what is in front of D that I can walk my way down to? In this example, we could reach up and go to this F note and go F, E, D. Both really great options. So it really comes down to just being more note-minded or note-oriented. In my experience, most guitar players don't really know what note they're playing. We're not paying attention to that kind of thing. We just are playing the chord shapes we know, and we're traveling from one to the next. And what I'm advocating for you to do is to stop and think for a few seconds. What note are you playing, and what note are you trying to get to? And what lives between the two of those. We kind of just proved that the major scale maybe helps give you notes that you know are going to sound great, but it's not required. A lot of those chromatic walks sounded awesome. So you're playing an E and you're trying to get to A. Well, there's probably an F in there. There's probably a G in there. Let's try to find those notes from on my way from E to A. At the end of the day, it should give you a lot of freedom and a lot of confidence to just think for a few seconds, what am I doing and what do I want to be doing? Thank you guys for sticking around. and let me know if you enjoyed this stuff. Give me a like and a subscribe, and we'll see you next time.